let's start with this just on the website. If I can get the screen to display, it appears. Oh, there we go. The Zenith Defy Diver Silver Dial watch. Ripley, you've had a hands on with this. What's the
Oh,
chat?
yeah, so we actually saw these originally quite a while ago. This is basically a silvery white dial version of the Defy Extreme Diver, which debuted this year at Watches and Wonders Geneva. When it debuted, it was offered in two colorways. The first was black with a black bezel, the other was blue with a blue bezel. Now you get a black bezel with a silvery white dial. They all have those kind of orange accents along the chapter ring and hands. But it's basically a new dial color for this collection. But I thought it was slightly interesting that when they launched the model, and keep in mind, Zenith doesn't make a lot of dive watches. They do a lot of chronographs, pilots watches. A modern three-handed dive watch was notably absent for a number of years. So it's kind of important for them to do something a bit meaningful with this. Obviously, they have their vintage pieces, but this helps kind of round out the lineup. Black and blue, kind of two flavors of the same color palette there. This gives it a much more kind of modern and stark look, but it's otherwise the same watch. You get a high frequency movement in there. Comes with a bracelet, a rubber strap, and a NATO, which has these lug attachments that allow it to use a pass through style. But it's basically the diver version of the Defy Extreme, all titanium, 600 meters, helium escape valve.
Good, good. Is it a hit? Is it a miss? Or is it a maybe? One, two, three, go. Maybe, hit, maybe. David, it's been observed that you've lost your signs. You're slacking off.
Yeah, they are just around there, but I just go with a thumbs up.
The thumbs up. Good stuff. Yeah, I want this to be a hit. When you try it on, I don't. It doesn't. Maybe it's my wrist doesn't quite. There's just something I can't quite put my finger on. It doesn't quite sit. Correct. I think the bracelet possibly tapers too quickly. It just doesn't. It's just the balance is just slightly off. Matt, how'd you vote?
I voted hit. And when these originally came out, I was more in the maybe camp, but this colorway, I think it's really attractive, and it both looks vintage but modern at the same time. I think it leans modern, and I like that. I appreciate that.
Good, David.
I gave it a hit. I think it's a really cool watch. It's turned up to 12 at this point. I see that Zenith has worked tirelessly on this. I wasn't too convinced about it when it came out either. But now in all titanium, 600 meters, very cool. Jake, who shot this watch, and it's his pictures, beautiful pictures in the article. There's this close up of the dial, and I was like, wow, that's what really pushed me over and into calling this a hit with those, like, I think laser edged dial with those chunky indices and large hands and all the rest of it. What a great looking watch. It's a bit large and tall, so of course you have to have a wrist to rock this one. I wish this was a little bit smaller, or if there was one. And I'm not really a fan of watches with a bezel that looks like a case back. I don't know where that comes from. It totally looks like it's just once you see it, or once I see it, I can't unsee that it has a case back on the bezel. So that's one of the but I'm still, it's a hit. I would go with that.
Cool. $11,500. Still a hit, Ripley.
Yeah, it's the same price as the other colorways from the collection. I mean, I said it's a hit. I like the collection. I've got little wrists, so it is quite a chunk on mine. It's not exactly a thin watch, but it isn't terribly heavy because it's titanium. But in my opinion, this is the best looking version of them. I got a chance to check one out in person. It's thoroughly modern, and I think more so than the black or blue ones. Just something about that really crisp white silvery dial with the orange accents. Um, Clearly there's some vintage influences in it, but this is a very modern creation, and I think it's a good addition to their catalog. They didn't have a modern diver, they needed one, and I think this hits the brief completely.
Joseph in the chat gave it a maybe, same as yourself, Kevin, I think.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, I don't know where to start. It just leaves me quite cold. That's why I gave it a maybe. It's nothing specifically wrong with it, but overall, maybe it's just not for me. I mean, it's got some amazing parts though. It's titanium, 42 mil thick, so diameter, 15 mil thick. It's a nice piece, and it will suit my wrist very very well. But for some reason, I don't know what it is. It just doesn't grab me. There's nothing unique about it as such. I mean, the dial's quite interesting, I suppose. It's got the El Primero movement, but it's a bit for me. I just can't put my finger on it.